Mike Tyson says Gervonta Davis didn't do huge numbers in the Ryan Garcia fight. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, the big homie, the OG heavyweight, former champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson, has voiced plenty of opinions when it comes to the Ryan Garcia-Gervonta Davis fight. But he recently gave an interview, and he had some interesting things to say about Gervonta Davis and that specific fight. And I just wanted to give my 2 cents, break it down for the audience that is watching. Alright, so Mike Tyson basically said that he feels like it wasn't Gervonta Tank Davis that drew in the audience, that did nearly 1.4, somewhere around 1.3, 1.4 million pay-per-view content buys for that fight. And he feels like that it was more of Ryan Garcia's audience, not Gervonta Davis's audience that tuned in. And I want to try to dispel that just a little bit, because I think he's slightly right. I do feel like a lot of Ryan Garcia's audience tuned in for the fight, but I think there's something missing from what Mike Tyson had to say. And basically it's this. I think if they were to go and break down the viewership areas of the pay-per-view sales, then they would see this, that most of the sales most likely came from the East Coast and the West Coast. And most likely the East Coast audience was Baltimore, it was that Washington, D.C. area, it was Philadelphia, it was upstate New York, New Jersey. It was all those areas, I'm pretty sure, that tuned in for Gervonta Davis. And then you had the huge audience out California, which Ryan Garcia already, pretty much has on lockdown, plus his Instagram audience. But here's something I don't think Iron Mike Tyson factored in when he spoke about, the viewership. Gervonta Davis, is true, he has not been doing, more than 300,000, 500 on a really, really good night, but somewhere around 250 to 300,000 pay-per-view buys per fight. So that other million pay-per-view buys had to come from somewhere.
We felt it was disrespectful when you was we felt it was disrespectful when you was doing another man legs, taking pictures of Steph Curry. Pause.
And this is what I feel like. So if he was already doing 250,000 to 300,000 buys, and then you're putting another, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people into a stadium, okay, so you got to add another 50,000 people that would have actually went to the fight if it was in Baltimore, which it wasn't. It was out Vegas. So that's an extra 50,000 that you got to add on, but that's still nowhere near 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, and that's very true. So if he normally does 300,000, you can give him 350. Okay, so add on another 250 for Ryan Garcia's audience. That I think that's fair. So that pushes it somewhere around 700, 800,000 buys. Where did the rest of that audience come from? That's still missing like 500,000 viewers. And I think what Tyson is missing, along with the fact that he didn't mention that most of Gervonta Davis' biggest fights have been in the Baltimore area, and his audience has been there. So that's a huge crowd that's actually at the fight that doesn't have to order the pay-per-view. But where did the rest of the audience come from? I think it came from the hype being built by Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. A lot of that was hype viewership. And I think if both of those guys were to fight again, unless they're fighting a huge name, you're going to see the numbers drop. And I don't think all of it was hype, because, once again, it wasn't just pay-per-view buys. This is what I said in the beginning, and I think this is why I feel like Iron Mike is having a hard time accepting that they did those numbers. Actually, me, I'm having a hard time accepting that they actually did those numbers. But I think when you add in content sales, those are actually being added into the pay-per-view numbers now. It's all content. So wherever they sold the content, they're just going to call it pay-per-view sales. So if you already have the DAZN app, you got to watch that fight basically for free. If you paid for your month of the DAZN app, you basically got to watch that fight for free. So I'm pretty sure DAZN has somewhere around 100, 200,000 viewers, somewhere around there. So you add another 200,000 in there, that puts it somewhere around 900,000 content purchases. And then you add in the hype sales that I just said. That's probably another 200,000 to 300,000, and that puts you right at 1.2 million or 1.3 million content sales. So I think that's what Iron Mike Tyson is missing. You know, there was a lot of build up to this fight. There was a lot of hype to this fight. So I'm pretty sure there were a lot of hype purchases.
But nobody's talking about that. Those are the real issues. We talking about records and we talking about opinions and bullshit. Those are distractions. We should talk about learning how to pass laws, learning how to pass bills, learning how to be politicians, learning how to help people. We're all worried about social things and living vicariously through other people because we all hate our lives. I don't live vicariously through nobody like me. I live through mine. Period. I ain't worried about nobody else's business. That shit don't yield. Only way I want to talk about somebody else is if it's gonna profit. If it don't make me no money, or if it doesn't involve my soul, it's sucker shit.
People that wouldn't purchase the next fight unless it's Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, Josh Taylor, Ryan Garcia, something like that, you're going to see those numbers come back down to their average, I'm pretty sure. And as well, once again, you got the Baltimore audience that normally is at the fight. Let's just say half of that, even if it was half of the 40 or 50,000, whatever it is that he's doing in those stadiums out there in Baltimore, even if it's half of that, just 20, you know, that's still a significant amount of people ordering the fight for Gervonta Davis. And I'm pretty sure it's way more than that, but I'm just trying to be fair to the numbers and keep the numbers true and real to what I believe actually happened. And, you know, like I said, Ryan Garcia has a good audience. He has a heck of an Instagram audience. There's a lot of females, I think, that he had tuning in for him because he has a huge female audience. So, you know, a lot of women have really good jobs and they have a lot of money. So it wouldn't be a surprise if a lot of females brought that fight. So I think if they went back and they actually broke down the content sale numbers, the pay-per-view numbers, then they would find out that a lot of those sales came from the East Coast. I think a lot of them came from the East Coast, that Baltimore area once again. A lot of them came from female. Was, you know, if they broke it down by gender and race and stuff like that, a lot of them came from female. A lot of them came from the Hispanic audience because they support their guy. So I would agree to disagree with Mike Tyson. I do feel like a lot of it was Gervonta Davis's audience, but I have to disagree because I think it was closer to the 50-50 this time because of the hype that the fight generated. A lot of that hype was based off Gervonta Davis and how, you know, over the top he was in the press conferences and the build up and, you know, the way he was calling Ryan out and saying crazy stuff. He's going to break his jaw. You know, that sold the fight. And, you know, I'm proud of those guys for doing huge numbers. Now, I want that to be motivation for Spence and Crawford to put on a great fight. I want that to be motivation for Charlo, you know, to get his stuff together and get back in there and put on a good fight. For AJ, for Anthony Joshua, to you know, really go after Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and Uzeki and put on some good super fights, man. It can't just be Gervonta Davis putting on 2 or 3 super fights every year, and he's not even getting the accolades for hitting those numbers. They want to pass it off, and I'm kind of surprised that Mike Tyson would try to pass off that accolade from Gervonta Davis off to Ryan Garcia. You know, it would have been fair for Tyson to say it was 50-50 down the middle. both of those guys generated that audience. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section below. Do y'all agree? Do y'all disagree? Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's YouTube, that's Twitter. But you are more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, always feel free to hit my Gmail, and it is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are
town where they born to hate, so it ain't safe if you got enormous weight. Baby mamas is up under the normal age, but it's a normal place, catching an enormous case. Where the cops handcuff you, put a floor to your face and pull, squeeze it firm and leave you squirming. Bleeding, burning, streets tough as reading German, preachers in the cut reading sermons. I'm trying to see if it's working. Where they see you in person, Nina's is bursting. Likely you in the need of a nursing. You wanna breathe, but it's hurting. How your people screaming in churches, dead broke, reaching for persons. Like, bitch, give me your bread. And disrespect alike, give me some head. I give you some lead. Look like they get you in red down in the 5-0. Too many haters think you would be a players ain't gon' bust you. L.O. You niggas better duck, you bitches better duck, cause I represent the 5-0. Tell nigga haters think you would be a player, ain't gon' bust you. L.O. You niggas better duck, you bitches better duck, cause I represent the 5-0. 2 area code, shots faster than Marion Jones. A target dome and bury your bones in heritage zones. When I'm out of town, I compare it to home, and it's the same old type of shit carrying on. Like every hood area's clone, and it's sicker than malaria. These niggas carry their chrome just like they carry their phone. Whether you married alone, snitch type of Capone. Move bricks and stones, I'm too slick to clone. I represent my home. Yeah, where niggas don't get along, so don't get me wrong, or you can get it wrong. Look, you gotta feel me. I own the streets where your anatomy a be. I gotta be a G. You might find me with text, you might find me in Lexington, but I represent 5-0. Too many haters think you would be a players ain't gon' bust you. L.O. You niggas better duck, you bitches better duck, cause I represent the 5-0. Too many haters think you would be a players ain't gon' bust you. L.O. You niggas better duck, you bitches better duck, cause I represent the